Oh, holy cow! I'm live streaming. Of course I am. Hey, this is John Chen, and I'm the author. You are in the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast, and I was sleeping because we just finished this thing, the Engaging Conference, 3 day, all virtual conference, all about the secrets of engagement for successful conferences, summits, and master classes. Amazing moments, some high numbers, the new high watermarks we made. We had 1,100 people register for this. We had some extraordinarily high live stream numbers for the first time this year, and really comments that we got. People said, this conference is too damn engaging. I can't get anything else done, and I'll take that as hopefully the world's biggest compliment. If you want to check this out, you really want to check it out. You do want to get the VIP replays, and I do have a special running for it for $97. And a little bit later today, I'm going to open up registration for 2024's Engaging Conference, which I have decided will be the first one that will be hybrid, and my guest and I are going to talk a little bit about that. Speaking of my guest, talk about engaging. We have known each other a long time. We've really met through the meetings industry. Check this out. 2-time bestseller list author. His work was featured on Wall Street Journal, ABC News, Success Magazine, and even Costco magazine, hashtag Kirkland, a professional magician who has performed from the Sydney Opera House to Paris to Las Vegas to my frickin' Zoom. And he's an amazing philanthropist. I've seen his work where he has founded the Miracles and Magic Foundation. He has a heart. It's serving children. He believes life is about moments. And I can tell you, because I spent a few of those moments in person with him at like WC and lots of other really cool places, and will help us achieve our best ones today. Let's welcome with his amazing, well, I got to give him some walking music. Please welcome speaker, author, and sarcastic introvert, Jon Petz.
I had to do walk-in. If you're doing walk-in music, I gotta do the.
Walk it out. It's actually funny.
I like this.
We have for the guests who do dance. Like, I got to go back through the episodes, but we're gonna have a dance contest. I'm gonna like clip all the people who do dance. There's quite a few.
I want in. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's walked side to side in here, so I think you could easily get that. You could easily get some goodness there. Oh my gosh! So John, tell me something great going on in your life. It has been a little while since we have chatted. Tell me something really good, and then introduce yourself.
Fabulous things going on the business side. Loving where it's going in terms of where the meetings and event industries is right now. Biggest thing that I have new, I think, report is a new COO in my organization, Christina. A wonderful asset to the team, and probably what I'm most excited about the business to have, so she can help me kind of take it to our next level so I can scale and grow, because I'm at events around the world, and that means I need someone to truly run the business, and I'm very excited about that. So
that's a high quality problem.
You know what I mean? You got a lot of viewers that know what I mean. Things are good. I'm very happy to report. Now, hopefully everyone watching can say the same thing.
Well, speaking of people watching, we've got somebody from Metropolitan Detroit that says hello. So for my friends who don't know you, John, take a moment, introduce yourself, who you are and what you do.
What do I do and who I am? Well, I'm based in Ohio. I am really an author, a speaker, and a performer. You mentioned as part of the intro, magician. I've magic as a kid. Tech entrepreneur is kind of where I went the drill on a professional standpoint, which is how eventually we met John, because after the .com blow up and all that, I ended up at a privately run tech side of insurance, and they had awful meetings, hence the book Boring Meetings Suck, and all the event industry I ended up with that. And after that, went back self-employed, and for June will be 20 plus years. I act as opening, closing, keynote speaker, I would say, in most parts. Also, there's probably a host of conferences that I will act as MC. So you can kind of have that continuity of brand and theme and content, as well as a little bit of entertainment as we go throughout. So live event personality, opening, closing, keynote, who speaks on the power of performance and rules for creating and establishing miracles in your organization.
Miracles. Well, let's talk about the nonprofit a little bit. First, what inspired you to start the nonprofit, and can you just give a little format about the evening experience that you create?
Oh, I would love to. And thank you for asking and certainly starting on that. Now, the nonprofit is called Miracles and Magic. How it got started, chance meeting. The very brief story, without going into the emotional aspect of the story, was a little boy in the hospital who wanted to meet David Copperfield, the world's most famous magician in the history of the world. And they didn't think that was going to happen. And they called me. And I'm like, I'm a nobody. What can I possibly do? But ended up in the hospital, had a very, very big impact on me personally because of something that happened shortly thereafter. And we can talk about more of that story later. But what I learned from that, at that point in time, I didn't have a whole lot of money to donate or to create. And I started a little show in a high school theater. And we raised some money for kids in life-threatened conditions. And the object and goal was had them forget about chemo and shots and hospital beds, and them, all their siblings, their families, just enjoy a show of laughter and wonderment of magic. Fast forward that event 20 years, and now it's an internationally known magic and variety show. We bring in the best magicians of the world, raised a couple of $1 million, and produced a really cool show. Would love to take it to more cities, kind of expanding on that, done a few other cities, but mainly it's in the Ohio market. But open to other options. If we have people who want to or know how we can get connected to serve other states, that'd be great.
You're about experience and moments. What's like an unexpected experience or special moment that's happened at one of these?
At one of those, I think a lot of people would say the reactions of the kids who are in, a lot of life-threatened conditions, or also we do, facial differences. That's a big thing with facial deformalities or something like that. And the reaction of them is priceless. But I would say with even the unexpected impact moments is when we come through doing autograph lines and you'll hear a parent kind of take you aside and say, thank you. This is Joshua's brother, Simon, and Simon doesn't get any attention. And he felt like a superstar today as well. And just to see the brother of it, because all the energy goes into the sick child in a sense, and to see a sibling just relax and enjoy, and that had more impact, I think, to me than I ever would have realized. Yeah.
Yeah, that is tough too, guys. People forget about that. Like there's an impact. It's not just on the impact on the person, but around the whole ecosystem. And so being able to do something like that. I had one situation like that. Somebody sent me flowers for my birthday, but I had to leave town for another trip, and these flowers were like 1 day fresh, and I was just like, I just think it'd be such a shame to let these die in my house. So I stopped by Children's Hospital here in Seattle, and I said, okay, I know this is weird, but I want to be this guy today, which is like, I want to do something good for somebody. Tell me whose birthday is close to today. I've got something for them. And it was like, oh yeah, we got an 18-year-old male. And I've got a bunch of flowers, and I'm like, I don't think this is gonna work. But they're like, okay, just follow along, right? So
why not?
So I gave him. Brought the flowers in, sang happy birthday for the family. That his parents were there, and then we got talking, and it was really cool that I actually visited this person because it turned out not multiple sclerosis, but what is that? A hardening of the lungs, something like that.
Cystic fibrosis.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. And
that's a tough one. Very tough.
Yeah, and with that family, we gave these flowers and found out that he was a computer fan. Like he loved playing computer games, and so I worked at Microsoft at the time. So I actually invited him to come over and take a tour at Microsoft. And it took a couple weeks till he was at a healthy enough point to do so, but we actually got to do this really cool tour from at Microsoft. And unfortunately, I got to tell you, talk about the heart here, John, because I know you have it. I was in the doctor's appointment for the sonogram for my daughter, my second child. And I get a phone call, and it says that this person who I'd met just passed away. And so I got life and death in the same moment. It was so impactful. And then the kicker for the whole thing, John, too, just like this moment when these parents or the kid comes up to you, they said, John, we want you to speak at the memorial. And I said, I just met. And he goes, no, you have no idea how big of an impact you had in his last couple of weeks. And it meant the world to us and to him. And I'm like, oh, geez. Yeah. So we end up, speaking at the memorial for this thing. So it's so funny how there's one set of flowers turned into this whole experience. So John, again, thank you so much for all the work that you do.
Thank you. And so similar. I don't think I knew that story before, but that's what that last book, Significance in Simple Moments, because that is truly, people don't realize that is the story of me meeting that child in the hospital and what happened because of it. similar to you. We have no idea in that moment the impact we had. And you think, oh my gosh, there's a billion people in the world. But at any given moment, you could be the whole world to that one person. And look at what you did. You had no idea at the time, but that was creating and just making that miracle happen.
Ugh.
Good for you. I'm back to you now, man.
Thanks, John. So now you are a professional magician. When did the magician thing start?
I was
Your journey.
7 years old. I mean, I tell the story. So the first time I saw magic, I was 7 years old. My dad did a penny trick in the kitchen, and I remember, and then I got a Scooby-Doo magic set like my next year for my birthday. And I just kind of kept with it. That's it is a part of everything I do. It tells a story. It's not in a speaking engagement, and you would know this. It's not just do a trick and now let's talk strategy and business. It has to be a story component. And I talk about performance and moments and magic. My craft really is to imagine, design, and deliver precise moments of impact, of unexpected, of wow. So, how can we create that in your business? And that's kind of where I use that as a tool and a storytelling element. Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic you've been able to do that. So, and again, so you're saying though, part of your career, you were a professional magician. That was like the main thing you did. I just want to make sure I'm clear.
I did. I mean, I worked at a startup right out of college. Then worked for MCI for 3.5 years. And then I left, my good real job at remember MCI when you had to dial 1 for long distance? Some of you remember
You needed a card sometimes.
Remember that? That's right. The calling card. No, and I left MCI and I was performing all throughout, but freelancing but building up clientele. And then almost 3 years, I kind of survived as a magician, and Nate was never in lights in Vegas. I got to play Vegas and I went around the world, and it was a fabulous experience and opportunity.
Well, it's
got a
really
lot of credits, met a lot of good people.
great to have that experience of magic. And, I think once you start, you can't really stop. So you use the things that you have learned, right, to bring in things like surprise and delight into your programs. That's what a lot of people talk about. Like I end up trying to use technology to do that somehow or another. And it looks like magic to most people who have no idea how to do it. So, but speaking of which, I think you actually can do a little magic here. So I'd love to see, let's give the people some stuff.
Will you put me on the spot like right now?
Let's do it.
Want to do?
Create some magic right here. This is Jon Chen.
Yeah.
Jon Petz. Wait. I have something for you. Wait, hold on. Let's see.
Here we go. We got the music. How about?
I'm going to create magic for you right here. Hold on 1 second. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, Jon Petz.
But I haven't done anything yet. They can't clap yet. Here, we'll go up close and personal. See, make sure the laptop's out of the way. Even I might be able to get a tighter shot there for you. There it is. Here would be a good storytelling element, for the people watching. We've got, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3. Well, I got $5 to work with. And you can show them fronts and back. And, we have to invest in ourselves, invest in a meeting, whether that be online, whether it be hybrid, or, in any which way, shape, or form. The real thing is when we learn how to engage, when we get the people together, interacting, participating, and really, pulling together that message of that show or the event, that's really when you get that return on investment for yourself. Not just the one. That would be, let's see, the 100, the 200, the 3, the 4, the 5. Yeah, there's fronts, there's backs, and that's when people say, "What, you want to do that with my money? I got that kind of money in my wallet. How do you make that happen?" I'm like, I'm sorry. Are there any questions at this point in time? Are we good? Are we all good? Here you go, sir. There you are. Now you do the sound effects.
There's the sound effects. Timing is everything.
I got all kinds of them. No, I used to, well, you know this. It was a studio before this one. This is a smaller, simpler. This is kind of the move in, move out studio. But we did a ton of work in COVID. That's magic, MC. I got tons of things that are just set up and ready to go, kind of to really engage. To use it as a tool. It is a tool for engage, to interact, to tell the story, to get people really into that moment that we want to create.
So I haven't really talked to you about, what you did in these last 3 amazing years. So I'd love to hear some more stories. What did you do to change your thing? Because you're in the meetings industry too, like I am. I'm sure you were like massively impacted. So I'd love to hear some of the things and thought processes that you went through and to try and find some success over the last couple of years.
I have a unique story that most people would never be able to tell. So out of college, I mentioned I had a little startup and then I went to MC. My first job, actually, even before my first job out of school, my first job at Ohio University, where I went to school, I managed the video conferencing systems for the university. That was my job because I wrote a senior thesis on end user support for video conferencing. Now, I'm not going to give away my age, but that was in 1994, John. 94. I was doing my first job. I was selling what we're doing. I was selling desktop video conferencing software, a company called Envision Systems. You've never heard of it, but for our tech folks out there, it was the first company on a Windows platform to do packetized video on a LAN WAN basic. And this is 10 base T, man. It was sucked. It was awful, but it physically worked. So I share that. And then, it never really made it. Maybe parts of it were sold to become Skype at some point in time. I don't know. Ended up at MCI. But when all that happened in, February, March, April 2020, I, like most people, I thought, hey, I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. I'll be on the planes again in 3 weeks. No big deal, whatever. And then I went on and I pitched myself in terms of, I've been doing this for 25 years. I can help you. And here's how we're going to do it. And a lot of the keynotes, events just canceled in 1 week. You had, I'll do 75, 85 events a year. Right. I had mega cancellations in a week. 15. But a lot of I had associations and I would work with them and say, we don't know what to do. I'm like, I'm going to help you. And here's how we're going to do it. Here's 6 platforms to look at. Let's build out the show, because you then have to realize, and what you're doing, we're creating a TV show. This is not stinking talking head on a Zoom PowerPoint, put me down. No, it doesn't happen. It's awful. So we created like full run of shows and storyboards. And I was in the basement with my daughters. I have 3 daughters. They're pushing the buttons, and maybe a lot of people have their home studios. And we were doing national sales meetings. Like the main hub broadcast studio was my basement with a power generator out the window as a backup. And, so I share all that. I ran with it. I know people who were busier than I was, but business was down, but I kept working. And what I really did, I established relationships, and the clients who I'd had who didn't know what, I worked 10 times harder for them, never charged them anymore. But we pulled it off, and we created experiences, and we blew people away with what I think you can do in this medium and format that you're talking about today. So I kept working. Then I told other speakers how to do it, how to set up studios. So there was me.
What were some of the either super wins or surprise wins, like even a small technique, but you found like how big a deal it is?
A small win for me personally from business was when, I won't say the company name. One of their main products is this. It is not this brand, but it is another major brand. And they came to me to produce their national sales meeting. I'm like, are you serious?
That's big.
And it was one of those where we did like from 9 till noon, we did it for North America. And then from 1 to 4, we did it for, how did it go? And that would have been, 9 to 4, we did it for Europe. And then 1 and 4, we did it for Europe. And then, I said it wrong, but 3 times in a day, we just do it back. And then 3 days. But that was a big win from just a learning cycle. I think further knowing how to interact. We've got, if I have this tile that I'm working with right in front of me. Yeah. And knowing how pauses work in a live audience is very different how pauses and demonstrations and comedy would work in this format. You have to be really comfortable making a joke and not hearing anybody laugh, but still giving in that moment of pause for it to still sink. And when you're interacting and the delay from the chat. And so it was a learning element to know how to interact and be comfortable on this side of the camera when presenting, and really have it come off well. So that was a whole different curve I had to re-educate myself on.
Well, I want to hear some MC things. Like here, I'll share one of my MC stories, John, is that I was asked, and things that I got to do, I got asked to be the lead producer for a training conference for 1,200 people. And and it's like, yeah, it's funny. I've always thought, I'm like, oh, I'd be an okay meeting planner, but that's where I found a groove, a niche to like drive down and going, oh, I think I may have an advantage over many other that are seasoned meeting planners. Anyways, here's a good MC moment. I was emceeing a program, and their headquarters is in Portland, Oregon, and we were connected to 425 stores across the U.S. and Canada. And they asked me to MC the program, so I ran a Q&A with the vice president of sales. Let's just call him Bill. And then Bill comes back up and he goes, it's my last question. I'm like, okay, VP Bill, did you have any final comments, that you like to give to the audience here? And he goes, oh yeah, it's so important this year. And I'm like, what's going on, VP Bill? And he's like, oh, we forgot to tell you that we're under the flight path for the military base here in Portland, Oregon. And so, this is the instant. Like, I had nothing planned for this, John, but the only thing I could come up with was, everybody chat jets. And the chat just blew up with jets and then jet emojis, and people found that text part of jets, that they did the whole thing. It was hilarious. And then I kept going, and then I'm like, oh, because they do actually do a lot of nonprofit work for the military. That's part of what the company does. And I see how it is, VP Bill. You get a military flyover to end your keynote. Thank you so much, VP Bill. Let's go to the next thing.
That's pretty priceless. I'm trying to find. Can I share one funny, probably my highlight of my COVID, but it was a live event in COVID.
Yeah.
Which because of the connections I made, I did the first conference live in America, in Texas and Florida and Ohio. Those are my credit. Here was the wildest. I'm on eCam. I don't ever share screen when I'm on eCam, but I'm going to do it just in live fashion here quick.
Oh yeah.
Boom, right there. So I got good press with this, but that was you see the bubbles coming through for you, but
I do believe that's a Zorb, right?
Yeah, I was, and this is when it was like, a 3,000 person conference room and all the chairs are 6 feet apart. And I got some good press in the meetings industry magazines with that shit. But that was,
So John, we're 3 years past this, landmark event for us. So, what has to happen for Jon Petz to be engaged in somebody else's virtual meeting?
Oh, for me to be engaged. Well, back to, and I think this goes without saying, that the talking head days are gone. If it's an actual conference presentation, I need to feel like I'm watching Netflix, which not necessarily from a production level, but from the conference understanding that you're competing with that screen right here and this screen right here, and my emails here and whatever else. So what are you, yes, and then take the phone on top of it. So what is going to truly engage me into your screen? So it needs to be interactive. It needs to be entertaining. And it doesn't need to be 90 minutes like we would be in a live fashion. We can get to, I think, much quicker because of the butt time, the distraction time, and the ease of it. So for me to be engaged, I think, I don't want to just use the word entertain, but you really have to, well, you asked me how to engage. Interact, entertain, and produce it. I'll say gone are the days at the beginning when, if it was a hybrid meeting, hey, we're going to throw a camera up and back, and now it's a hybrid meeting. No, you just got one really crappy live stream. Anyway, so does that answer or no?
Yeah, no. The key parts there is it's got to be. It has a unique place, because the one thing Netflix can't do is say your name.
You're right.
The one thing Netflix can't do is respond to you, Jon Petz, in the moment. So I continually having these new beliefs that really come around that, like one of my new beliefs that I feel pretty strongly about is that I allocate up to 50% of the time for the audience to talk. And there's two reasons why. Number one, their stuff they say is way more interesting. And number two, it's almost impossible for them to not be engaged when they're spotlighted with you on stage.
I like that. I'm going to write that down. Yeah.
And so, I've seen it work. The other part too is again, you and I now too, since we're kind of tech wizards, is we're the first to push a button and get some engagement going. What the hell is he doing? Right? What is that?
Leave that on. Put it back.
Here we go. Ready?
Camera. I want to just someone screenshot that and send it to me. Yeah, and you've got your little down. That isn't. Yeah, that actually. I don't want to say turns me on, but man, that Strike that from the record. That geeks me up right there.
And I tell people too, there's like thousands of failures, right? The only thing other to COVID that I feel like I did that was one of my secrets was fail faster than anybody else. Just
Well,
fail like because eventually, if you fail faster than anybody else, you'll find all the stuff that works.
it did. And that was even with equipment. Remember when you couldn't buy webcams, you couldn't buy anything, and you're buying stuff, and I'd be getting all these little gadgets to try and then return like half of them, and just till we, and half it was duct tape here and there until you could get all the piece parts that actually, because there was monitors on top of briefcases on top of pillows because you couldn't get a stinking monitor stand.
Oh yeah, because of supply chain. Yeah.
Yes, just you had to do what worked, and you learned, and you broke you what you said, you failed. It just
So what's one of the best
brilliant.
programs that you attended? Like you weren't the I know the best part too. I tell people all the time, you want to be totally engaged, produce the program, but
That's true.
or speak at it too, because like when we are on, right? If you get a great speaker, they're on. But John, what's like one of the top programs that you attended in the last 3 years? Virtual, hybrid, I don't care.
I liked how that is a ASAE. I thought 2 years. I don't know what they did last year, but
I
when they
heard
did
there
the
was a
whole,
super high attendance.
yeah, that went well. But it was a hybrid event. There's one. It was they understood how to do a hybrid. It's two different shows in a sense. You have to pay attention, not two different, but it is a different format of engaging two different audiences. So I liked how I felt. I wasn't just watching from the wings. I felt truly included in that program. I think that's what they did well. HR floor, well, I was involved in that one in some regards. HR, but they did a really nice job. And reasons being, they gave, and as a recommendation, it's one of the questions coming is, how can you give your hybrid audience an exclusive experience that your on-site audience isn't getting? And
That's
it was almost
key.
we went, and I've done this personally. I want a handheld camera, and I'm coming back if I'm the MC, and I'm with the keynotes, and we are strictly we're backstage, talking with them before they even take the stage, not taking questions yet. That happens after the fact with a virtual. But I liked how I've seen others do that. I'm like, this is cool. No one else is getting this. I feel one-on-one with this person who I never would have had one-on-one time with at an event with 2,000 people. Not a chance. So
Yes.
that I thought was really impactful.
Yes, PCMA did a version of it too. I think it was Jen Salerno who was the MC and got to interview like either speakers just before they went on or just afterwards. And there was some really cool content there that was not being broadcast, right? It wasn't the in-person audience didn't get to see that. And I thought that was a smart move too. Shout out to Fabian Alonso, who's watching us on Facebook today. John, you said you have some really key thoughts about hybrid because everyone's talking about hybrid now, and it's some of the murmur is too expensive and too complicated. And yet, I just completed something called Learnapalooza, 3 breakout rooms. Every room had 3 cameras and at least 2 microphones. And we got a comment from a PhD that said, best hybrid I have ever attended. So where does Jon Petz fit in that hybrid universe?
I like it. I like when I get that opportunity to present in that fashion. It's going to be something that's with us for a long time, but you just said 2 very important things. People, and you have to realize it, you have to treat it as a different event. I don't know if I say it that way, but it's a different run of show. It's a different way of engaging, and how you're going to bring those people in has to really be thought about, not an afterthought. It has to be designed as part of the meeting before we even begin. So when those people have their onstage MC saying, hey, listen, your lunch boxes are here and this person is here, I don't care. I want to be going down to the play-by-play by the field and having my MC saying, oh, and for a virtual, here's what we're going to be doing. Now we're going to engage in this fashion. So I think we need to know that we need to do it right. It's design, which means it takes time. It does take budget to do it right, but it doesn't have to be massive budgets. You can speak to that. You just have to think through each aspect of that program. And I love when I can do it. Love it. I love the 2 of it. I do.
Well, I think that's
because we
cool.
because we kick butt at it, right? Because we get in and we
Yeah,
know how to do it. We can get them
yeah,
both.
yeah. Yeah, because you think about when you have a joint experience, when you have a split experience, have the right number of people. We had virtual MCs in every room. So like I was an in-room producer. I would shut everything down but I would do this cue, and now our virtual MC is going to take over, right? And we have a 15-minute transition to get the next speaker ready where we got to do all this stuff. But the continuation for the online people, they don't know. They don't have to know. And they don't hear mics rustling. They don't go, oh, well, I gotta put this battery pack on you. They don't care about that, right? But they're having a discussion. Here's the other part too. I think that there's two things I think we do really well that I've seen have success, and then that's one is the ability for the virtual audience to actually talk and give feedback on this really amazing content they just saw. Because most of the time they shut all those cameras off and they leave you, maybe if you're lucky, with this much chat. As opposed to, why don't I just bring you in? Oh, Jon Petz, you're watching from Ohio. What did you think of that last thing, right? And right, and so the second thing that we do is that we can actually bring people from virtual to the main stage. So we basically project the Zoom screen. Normally, it will be full screen with like the slide and the speaker, and we can actually then just add spotlight. And now we have somebody like John from Ohio who can actually talk to John Chen on the main stage in Seattle, and now you're like in the show.
Precisely. Love that. And I haven't seen this in an event app, and maybe you can share this. Have you been to a stadium? I mean, a soccer, football, whatever,
Yes.
where now you scan the QR code on the Jumbotron, and I could be on the Jumbotron from my phone. Have you seen that?
Oh, I've seen that to take a photo, but I think I know what you're talking about. What basically it does is that it starts live streaming to their system, and if they choose your camera, you are on, and now it's like selfie cam time, and that's cool. That's cool stuff.
It's exactly, and I want to see that happen in our hybrids, because I know we can come in on Zoom, but sometimes if we can even make it easier and have someone come in potentially in that format, then we have a little bit better control sometimes of bandwidth and potentially. But
well, that's what I tell a lot of people who don't have a high budget, that you can set up the computer, you can get at least a decent mic that's going to pick up all the people are going to talk, and take extra devices such as a phone or an iPad. Take one and point it back at the audience.
You should always have an audience shot.
Right. Take advantage of all the extra windows in gallery. And then sometimes you can even swap it in, but just having that view. The second one too, we've done it multiple times, Ron, is a smartphone on a gimbal, a stabilizer, and it's hooked up to a Bluetooth speaker, which is a microphone. And so someone's walking around like using it like a mic, but when the audience talks to them, they can hear them. And so we did it in a Black & Decker tour. We were able to go through. Black & Decker has a really cool experiential lab where you can demo all the tools. And so we got a chance to go through it because it was a learning and development experience. Super cool stuff.
I like that a lot. So people note that. That's a really cool idea.
All right. Well, John.
And these are simple. Those are low cost.
Yeah, $20.
Fun, interactive.
It's about being creative. It's not about money, right? It's about miracles. It's about thinking different. All right. Speaking of thinking different, right? Jon Petz, I know does think different. I can't wait to see you hopefully at something coming up. I'm actually scheduled to be at IMAX next year. I didn't make it this year. And what does Jon Petz see in the future for virtual and hybrid? If you love it, I want to see, like, what are you dreaming about? What's a wish?
What am I dreaming about? More people watching this podcast and learning from you so they know how to do it effectively and efficiently. I would like that, because still we have people who do it on a budget is fine, but do it on a manner in which, hey, people just want to get their credit. They just want their CEs. We can broadcast Zoom and, nothing against it, not a Zoom, just broadcast. I want to say the word crap. Am I allowed to say crap on this? I don't know. What's my barrier of words?
Say it really loud. Here, I'll say it with you on the count of three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Crap.
Crap. Dang it. So what I want to see happen, people realizing that it really is a great medium to bolster their attendance from so many different places from all around the world. But please understand the design that goes into it and give them the experience, and do so on a budget. And Mr. Chen's going to show you how to do it.
Oh, well, thank you, John. Yeah, the things that I see like also digitally assisted meetings, like the ability to get like a pulse or a read of like how engaged your audience is. So maybe if I was in the facilitator role, it's feeding me extra information. Like don't forget about Janie, who's in the audience, who has her camera off. Like just make a prompt to her. So like if it was helping you remember some of these things to help create engagement and inclusion, I think those are the things I'm looking forward to. And then this technology getting better, right? There's the cinematic part, which I really like. Like I didn't really like. I have tried some of the VR stuff, but
I haven't either.
it will eventually come around. Like if like the holodeck, like if we had a holodeck in your basement, I would be into that.
I'm surprised you don't. Where's
Well, I
yours?
kind of do. I mean, you saw the setup. It's like I've
Oh,
got enough screens around me.
and now I just saw, I mean, I got marketed. I mean, a little camera was like this big that will sit on top of your laptop, and it's like 8K on all these features and functions, and the depth it has. I'm like, it was incredible because I never used the laptop. This camera down here, I could push the button, but it's be up the nose shot. And no, I mean, all those components that are affordable and great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll love this. So I'm a fan now of it's called the OBS Bot Tiny 2 was the latest AI camera, and these little things now have replaced a Canon DSLR with a gimbal, and it's like 7 cables, and now it's this very tiny little thing with one USB-C cable, so it's power and everything. And now I've got a full pan tilt zoom camera, and I can even make a gesture like this, and it will start following me. Like I'll walk around, and it will you just hired a camera person, and so it's so cool that again, it doesn't work 100% of the time, but when it does work, it is upping the production of stuff, and where it's just me, it's one person, and it feels like an 8-person show.
Wow. So now I was going to turn my little, you can connect your camera to this phone. I was
Ooh.
going to show you what I've got right here, but I don't know if I'm set up to do it.
Oh my gosh. Well, John, so there we go. Oh, that's working.
Oh, it's upside down. Oh, come on,
Ah,
man. Now it's got
it's
my
now in your
arms.
shirt.
Oh,
Cards,
what the
mic,
heck?
laptop,
Never mind. Never mind. How do I get back to where I was?
live
How the
demo.
heck? That was complete live. I can see it down there. That's actually connect to it, but that is really wonky. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Nina, we're having a private conversation right now. Just disregard. Yes.
No, Jon Petz. Wait, I just want to right. This is the compliment. Try stuff. Listen to what we're saying. Try something, even if it fails like that. Right? Like
Right.
John is going to use this in one of his keynotes. By the way, I was on this call with John Chen. I was trying to do this really cool, crafty thing, and like I just broke all my cameras. Right? Like I don't know. It's going to find a way in. John, let's do this then too. Speaking about memorable and talking about experiences, if people could only remember one thing from this interview, what would you want them to remember?
You're supposed to give me those questions ahead of time. That's geez. If
And that's why I swing it.
remember that every one of us, if you, I guess, from a presenter standpoint, if you present or use this as a format for your meetings, whether it be everyday office meetings or true conferences, it's one you can do. Don't be scared by technology. It is user friendly. You can go, what John showed you would freak out most people, geeks me up, but you don't need that. What you said, OBS, a little camera, a decent microphone, and man, you can produce magic. You can make magical things happen and engage and interact your audience.
Mm. Well, thank you so much. In the description of this live stream is Jon Petz's website. Go check this guy out. Incredible website too. I got to update some of my stuff there. And I look forward to the next time I can hang out with you at some industry event. I am happy that the world is reopening in its fine way, and it's been a fun reunion over the past year and change. So, John, thank you for so much for taking a little time out today.
What a pleasure. Good to meet everybody.
Thanks, John. All right, this is John Chen here. You've just been visiting with Jon Petz, and break something. That's what I'm going to give you. That's my note today. Why don't you just flat out try to do something and break it today? And the second part is then, and while you break it, maybe you can create a little piece of magic. Do us a favor, hit the link or the like or the subscribe or the comment button, and go check out our podcast, Engaging Virtual Meetings Online. We have episodes releasing every Wednesday with amazing people here, just like Jon Petz. And next time, we will see you here.
It's always